So I'm scrolling TikTok and I come across a post and it said, taking probiotics will keep you from flossing.
Probiotics may help manage gum disease. They may help reduce plaque. They might even freshen breath. You wipe out some of the nasty sulfur-producing bugs. But you cannot replace physical removal.
There's certainly benefits to it, but like you said, doing it the right way is the key.
Probiotics were never designed to replace brushing and flossing because all they're meant to do is supplement the established oral hygiene and the established biome in your mouth. Skipping daily brushing and flossing is only going to allow these odor-causing bacteria to overpopulate, which probiotics cannot overwhelm.
And I know a lot of dental assistants out there take probiotics.
It's part of a good oral hygiene practice every day, not necessarily just as a replacement for other things.
Dental assistants are often the key to a patient accepting treatment or not. You're a key part of the patient journey, and so is CareCredit, a health and wellness credit card with flexible financing options so patients can pay over time for care they want or need, subject to credit approval. Want to know how to make sure CareCredit is a part of your practice's offerings? Email me at kevin@kevinspeaksdental.com and I'll make sure to help. That's kevin@kevinspeaksdental.com to make sure CareCredit is a part of your practice's offerings. Hey everybody, welcome back into another edition of the Dental Assistant Nation podcast. My name is Kevin Henry, founder of Dental Assistant Nation and editor-in-chief for drbicuspid.com. So glad you've joined us. Thankful to CareCredit once again for their sponsorship of this podcast, and thankful once again to have on a dear friend and that thought leader in pharmacology and dentistry out there, Tom Viola. My friend, what is going on?
I'm good, Kevin Henry, my friend. Hey, man, you never take enough credit for all you do for this profession. I hope everybody realizes what Kevin Henry has done for the profession of dental assisting and dentistry in general. So applause to you, my friend, for what you do.
I appreciate that. Rising tide lifts all boats, and I think the more of us out there talking to dental assistants like you do, it's a good thing. Absolutely. So, Tom, hey, we got to talk about something I saw on social media, buddy. I know that's scary in and of itself, right? But I'm scrolling TikTok the other night, where, by the way, Dental Assistant Nation has a page. If you're on TikTok, make sure you follow us on there. And Tom, you're on TikTok, I believe?
I am on TikTok. I am on all the social media channels. Just very small presence right now, but I'm working on it. I'm working on getting a bigger presence, yeah.
Well, make sure you find Tom. Make sure you find Dental Assistant Nation. Quick plug for that before I ask this question. So I'm scrolling TikTok. I'm doing that thing that all the cool kids do, and I come across a post, and it said, and I quote, taking probiotics will keep you from flossing. And I said, oh my goodness, wait a minute. If I take probiotics, not only does it help my gut and help me feel better down there, but also I don't have to brush anymore. I don't have to floss anymore. I don't have to do all these things to go see the dentist.
Yes, sir.
Tom, any ounce of truth here? I got to ask you that.
Well, okay, so I will tell you this much. I have heard a lot about this. As a matter of fact, I didn't watch the TikToks, but I had a lot of people ask me about it at my last speaking engagement in Vancouver in Canada. So it's funny you bring it up because I guess, when something trends like that, it hits everybody's feed. And so here's the thing. And people get confused because, there's so many. Is it a prebiotic? Is it a postbiotic? Probiotic? Nobody seems to really know the terminology or even what they mean. But if you go with the strict standard of probiotics, this is a way of supplementing the biome in your gut, okay? Now, with all due respect to my friends in holistic dentistry, they are probably looking at their screens right now saying, come on, Viola, you forgot about the benefits on saliva. I am with you 100%. I believe that holistic dentistry does a greater job, I think, in using microscopes and telling you, here's your salivary diagnostics for, what organisms are in your mouth, and here's how we're going to override some of the nasty ones and replace them with good ones. So I can see the genesis of where this came from. But probiotics were never designed to replace brushing and flossing because all they're meant to do is supplement the established oral hygiene and the established biome in your mouth. They're great for the gut. Don't get me wrong. Lactobacillus and some of the other organisms, bifidus, love them because they really do establish a normal, healthy gut. And to be quite frank, I mean, that from what I've read and what I've gathered, also promotes good immunity, which helps us fight off infections like periodontal disease and other diseases. But at the same time, probiotics may help manage gum disease. They may help reduce plaque. They might even freshen breath. You wipe out some of the nasty sulfur producing bugs, but you cannot replace physical removal of food particles and biofilm, what we call plaque. It has to be done with a toothbrush and it has to be done with flossing because mechanical removal means everything.
I gotta be honest, the first thing I thought whenever I saw this, and honestly, I'm glad you heard about it in Vancouver as well, is that this is the thing that will catch fire on social media, and
Uh,
a patient will walk in and ask the dental assistant, "Well, I read this, I saw this," and again, as you and I have talked about so many times, that's where that education from the assistant to the patient becomes so important.
This is where I think, and I love it, dental assistants as much as you do, my friends. I think you and I are two peas in a pod when it comes to the value of dental assistants in the practice. Unsung heroes, as I like to call them, and I often mention them in my presentations. Like, again, the dental assistant is the front door and the rear door on the office. They are the first presentation to a patient. So they're the welcoming committee, and they're also the committee that says farewell, we'll see you again. And they leave the most, in my opinion, of all the people in the office, they leave the most lasting impression. So people trust dental assistants, I think, sometimes even more than other people in the office because they know they're going to give them the straight scoop. They don't need to worry so much about, well, what would you do since you're in this profession? And again, I'm not going to say that you can't use probiotics, but skipping daily brushing and flossing is only going to allow these odor causing bacteria to overpopulate, which probiotics cannot overwhelm. They cannot contend with, regardless, again, of probiotic use. So they're best used as an addition to routine, target specific issues. So if you've got chronic bad breath, if you got gingivitis, if you have, or you're at high risk of caries or cavities, you may want to use probiotics as a supplement to what your daily hygiene allows. Because, Kevin, the thing is, we tend to grow these populations of bad bacteria in our mouth because, we use the same toothbrush. We don't always floss. We don't use water flosses are great for like sort of power washing, if you will, right? But if we don't do that stuff, if we're just kind of give it the minimal brushing and floss, or sometimes just brushing, which a lot of people do, you miss that mechanical removal. And that's just contact time for the bacteria and the food particles to help them grow and maintain and solidify themselves in the environment. So I would say if you're going to use probiotics, use some chewables, believe it or not, just to increase the contact time of the probiotics in your mouth and do it at night, but after the brushing and flossing, right? So you're preventing the reaccumulation of those bad bacteria by competing for resources. So that way they can work pretty much undisturbed. So what a lot of people I've seen done is they use the probiotic and then they brush and floss. And that doesn't do anything. You just brush them all away. So, give them the opportunity to grow in that bacterial environment, that in that medium, just like the bad bacteria can grow in that same medium.
And I love that because, one thing that always resonates with me is whenever I go to my dentist or my doctor and I ask about something and they say, "Oh, I take that and here's what I do." And I know a lot of dental assistants out there take probiotics. I mean, a lot of our American society does right now.
Yeah.
So there's certainly benefits to it, but like you said, doing it the right way is the key.
Yep. I think it has to be a combination of both. I think you've got to be able to use probiotics for the two very areas we're talking about. So for your gut health, it's a different strain. It's a different type of bacteria that's going to help establish that gut health. Now, keep in mind, and some people debate this, the very bugs that we're using to maintain good biomes in our body, both, in our colon and in our GI and in our mouth, those same bugs can be pathogenic if you are immunosuppressed.
Huh.
So they're great if things are healthy and the tissues are healthy and they are basically competing for resources and fighting against the bad bacteria that are already there. But remember that at the same time, they're bacteria in and of themselves. And if they get in the bloodstream, they can somewhat wreak havoc just like the good bacteria can. So you want to make sure that if you've got ulcerative colitis and you've got issues like that, you may want to check with your doctor to find out, is it okay for me to use probiotics or would that, God forbid, lead to sepsis? It's going to be the same thing in the mouth. I mean, I wouldn't even attempt to use probiotics just in my mouth if I didn't speak to my dental assistant, hygienist, or dentist as a team and say, what do you think? Will this help me? And I think one of the first things that any dental professional is going to say is, well, what's your oral hygiene practice now? Do you brush? Do you floss? Do you use the water flosser? Do you use the water pick? And then as an add-on, why not? If it can't hurt, if you don't have any, active sores, or if you don't already have periodontal disease that leaves you open for migration of bacteria from your mouth into your bloodstream, then why not? Let's give it a shot.
I feel like you and I have talked about TikTok trends or social media trends quite a bit over our past podcasts. And I want to encourage everybody, lots of good stuff from Tom Viola in past episodes. So make sure you're checking out our archives. But one thing I've got to ask you is if a dental assistant sees something on social media that maybe we know isn't exactly accurate, is that something she or he ought to alert the entire team to? So that everybody's prepared to talk about it. I mean, is that something you bring up at the morning huddle? Hey, I saw this and does that make sense?
Could not agree more, my friend. I mean, I will tell you what, I was in Vancouver. I flew in. I'm sitting there for a day. I had seen, emails come my way from people, dental assistants, hygienists that I know, asking me, what do you think about this? And before I knew it, it was already mushrooming. Like
Hmm.
it was already becoming this thing. And I'm like, wow, that was fast. Like it just happened in a couple of hours. So you can bet that in a dental office, if I'm your patient and I've already just checked out my TikTok for the day and I'm like, hey, look at that. And who wants to brush and floss, right? So, oh, look at this. I don't have to brush and floss anymore. And boom, there it is. So the earlier the team knows, the more time they have to form a response and the more proactive you can be in maybe not disagreeing necessarily, but encouraging them that it's part of a good oral hygiene practice every day, not necessarily just as a replacement for other things.
Sharpening the lens of understanding, as some would say, right? Just
I
a little
agree.
tweak there.
Yes. Exactly, man. Well said. Yes, I agree.
Yeah,
I think it's a matter of, and I think this is where dental assistants shine because,
yeah.
dentists sometimes are too busy. Hygienists have got, their own things that they need to worry about. But you, as the dental assistant, you are the liaison to the lay people that come to your office who read TikTok, sorry, who read TikTok, who read, things online and bring those things to the office. So you're the liaison to sort of, okay, this is what they said. All right, come on back, and then have a chance to whisper in your dentist ear, whisper in a hygienist ear, so that at least you're preparing them for that conversation, and that's what matters. It's really patient coordination, and I think that's where the dental assistant makes their greatest value. They provide education, they provide, commentary when necessary, and they are the person that really quarterbacks how the interaction with the patient's gonna go.
Love it, Tom. As always, love hanging with you and picking your brain and getting the expert knowledge on things like this. And I know there's a wealth of knowledge that our dental assistants could tap into with you. If they're not in Vancouver or Minneapolis or Shreveport or anywhere else you're going anytime soon, where can they learn more, my friend? Tell me.
Well, I'm in the process of transitioning, my friend. So right now, my website is still my main point of contact. If you want to hire me as a speaker or you want to have me speak at your study club, that kind of thing, tomviola.com. I'm opening a YouTube channel soon. It's going to be called Tom's Medicine Cabinet. And I think it's going to reach out to just about everybody. I think dental assistants are going to find it interesting because the point of the channel is going to be to explain to not just dental professionals what lay people think, but to explain to lay people what dental professionals think. Kind of cover both sides of the argument. So something like this would be a great topic. I would cover both ends of it so that it helps foster that communication because that's what I'm in here for, Kevin. You and I have been, soulmates when it comes to this kind of thing. All we
Absolutely.
want to do is, again, rise all the boats as the tide rises and realize that we're all contributing, we're all helping each other. And that's my goal. So that's up and coming. It hasn't really been formulated yet. And anywhere, if you want to reach me on social media, it's Thomas Viola RPH. So feel free to reach out at any time. Love to hear from y'all.
Gonna be in the show notes, real easy to find. And Tom, I guarantee we'll be back for future episodes. So if there's something you want to ask Tom Viola, and maybe you're not going to be at a meeting sometime, drop it in the show notes here on YouTube or wherever you're watching. We will ask Tom, and maybe we'll have a mailbag next time. You just can't ever tell, my friend.
Ask Tom Viola, huh? Okay.
Hey, nothing wrong with that, right?
I think the first thing should be ask Kevin Henry because he's the expert. I
Oh
just said
Lord, no. No,
so.
my wife doesn't even do that. Trust me. That makes it that's super easy, buddy. Trust me. So, now, as always, buddy, thanks for being on. Thanks for tackling a tough topic. I really appreciate it.
Of course, my friend. Appreciate you and all you do, Kevin. Thanks so much, bud.
Absolutely. And we appreciate all you do, dental assistants, every day, the dental practice. Thank you so much. Like Tom said, there's a lot of us out there who really value what you do and want to raise you up and make sure that you're armed and ready for any questions that might come through so that you're seen as that healthcare professional that we know that you are. Till next time, Kevin Henry, founder of Dental Assistant Nation and editor-in-chief for Dr. Bicuspid, thanking CareCredit for their sponsorship and thanking you for your time. We'll see you soon. Until then, we wish you nothing but success. Bye.